My name is Jessica Martinez. I'm 25 years old. I work night security at Westfield Commons Mall in Phoenix, Arizona. The mall closes at 9 p.m. I'm there until 6 a.m., alone in 1.2 million square feet of retail space. It's not supposed to be a scary job. I walk the halls, check the doors, monitor the cameras, make sure nothing is disturbed. Standard mall security. But for the last 3 months, something has been following me during my rounds. I don't know what it is. I've never seen it clearly, but I hear it. I feel it. And every night, it gets closer. It started small. Footsteps echoing behind me in empty corridors. Shadows moving in my peripheral vision. Mannequins facing different directions than they had been. I told myself it was my imagination. Night shift paranoia. The natural creepiness of a massive empty building. But then I started finding evidence. My footprints in the dust. And right next to them, other footprints. Barefoot. Human-shaped. But wrong. The toes too long. The stride too wide. Security camera footage showing me walking alone through the food court. And then, seconds after I pass, something else moving through the frame. Too fast to see clearly, but definitely there. And the mannequins. Every morning when day shift arrives, they find mannequins moved from their stores, arranged in a circle, in the center of the mall, facing inward, like they're watching something, or waiting for something. I've tried to quit 3 times. My supervisor won't accept my resignation. Says I'm under contract. Says I owe them 6 more months. Says if I abandon my position, I'll be sued for breach. So I keep coming back. Every night. Alone. Walking through the dark mall. Knowing something is following me. And every night, it gets a little closer. Last night, I felt breath on the back of my neck. I started working at Westfield Commons in September 2024. I needed a job. Night security paid well. $15 an hour plus differential for overnight shift. Health insurance. It seemed perfect. The mall is huge. 3 levels. 200 stores. 4 anchor department stores. A food court that seats 800 people. A 12-screen movie theater. Parking for 5,000 cars. During the day, it's packed. Families. Teenagers. Shoppers. The noise is constant. Music. Conversations. The hum of commerce. But at night, after the gates close and the lights dim, it becomes something else. Empty retail space has a particular quality. It's designed for crowds, for energy, for life. When you remove all that, what's left feels wrong. Hollow, like a body without a soul. The first week was the hardest. Learning the layout, memorizing which stores were which, understanding the security systems, getting used to the silence. My trainer was a guy named David. He'd worked night security for 2 years. He showed me the routes, the checkpoints, the procedures. We walked the mall together for 5 nights. He explained everything. Which doors to check, which cameras covered which areas, what to do if I found something unusual. On the 5th night, I asked him, "Do you ever get creeped out being here alone?" He stopped walking, looked at me. "You'll get used to it. The first month is weird. After that, it's just a job." Has anything ever happened? Like, actually happened? Define happened. I don't know. Break-ins. Vandalism. Anything scary. David was quiet for a moment. Things move sometimes. Displays. Merchandise. We blame cleaning crews or maintenance. But sometimes stuff moves and nobody can explain it. Like what? Mannequins mostly. They end up in weird places. Different floors. Different stores. Sometimes outside the stores entirely. How does that happen? I don't know. And I don't ask. I just put them back and file a report. That's the job. He didn't elaborate. And I didn't push. After that 5th night, I was on my own. Solo shifts. 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 nights a week. For the first month, nothing unusual happened. I did my rounds, checked my checkpoints, monitored the cameras. The mall was empty and quiet and boring. Exactly what I expected. Then October ended. November began, and things changed. November 3rd, Monday night. My first round of the evening. 10:15 p.m. I was walking through the second floor East Wing. Women's fashion stores, jewelry, cosmetics. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. The corridor was empty. Dim security lighting. Closed storefronts with metal gates pulled down. Nothing moving. But I definitely heard footsteps. The same rhythm as my own walk. Following me. I stood still. Listened. Silence. I started walking again. And after a few steps, I heard them again. Footsteps. Matching my pace. Behind me. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I turned quickly. Nothing there. This happened 3 more times during that round. Footsteps that appeared and disappeared. Always behind me. Always just out of sight. I checked the security cameras when I got back to the office. Reviewed the footage from the second floor East Wing. Timestamp 10:15 to 10:30. The cameras showed me walking alone. No one behind me. No other movement in the corridor. But I'd heard those footsteps. Clear as anything. I told myself it was acoustics. Sound bouncing off walls in weird ways. My own footsteps echoing and creating the illusion of someone following. Mall acoustics are strange. Sounds carry in unexpected ways. That had to be it. But it happened again the next night. And the night after that. Always during my rounds. Always behind me. Always stopping when I stopped. And always invisible on the cameras. November 10th. I started noticing the mannequins. There's a women's clothing store called Elegance on the second floor. They have a window display with 5 mannequins, dressed in winter fashion, positioned in a casual group arrangement. I walked past this store multiple times per shift. I'd gotten familiar with the display. The mannequins faced outward toward the mall corridor. Standard retail display positioning. But on November 10th, during my 2 a.m. round, one of the mannequins was facing inward, toward the inside of the store, away from the window, turned completely around. I stopped, stared at it. That wasn't right. Why would they position a display mannequin facing the wrong direction? I made a note in my report. Elegance store, window display mannequin facing incorrect direction. Possible maintenance/cleaning error. The next night, 2 mannequins were facing inward. The night after that, 3. By the 4th night, all 5 mannequins in the Elegance window display were facing inward, turned away from the mall, looking into the dark store. I reported it each night. Each morning, the day shift supervisor would have the store employees fix it. They'd reposition the mannequins correctly. But every night, during my shift, the mannequins would turn around again. I started checking the cameras, watching the Elegance display, trying to catch when the mannequins moved. But they never moved on camera. One moment, they'd be facing out. I'd walk away, come back an hour later. They'd be facing in. The cameras showed no movement. No one entering the store. The mannequins just changed position between observation, like they were moving when nobody was watching. November 15th. The footprints. I was doing my 4 a.m. round. 3rd floor. Home goods section. This area doesn't get cleaned as frequently as the main corridors. There's often a thin layer of dust on the floors near the less popular stores. I noticed my own footprints in the dust. Standard boot treads from my security shoes. And next to my footprints, other prints. Barefoot, human-shaped, but wrong. The toes were too long. The spacing between prints was too wide, like whatever made them had an unusually long stride. And there were only 4 toes on each foot. not 5. I stopped walking, stared at the prints. They paralleled mine, like someone had been walking beside me. But I'd been alone. The cameras would show I'd been alone. I followed the bare footprints backward. They started about 20 feet behind where I'd entered the corridor, like something had started following me partway through my route. I followed them forward. They continued alongside my boot prints for about 50 feet. Then they stopped, just ended. No indication of where whatever made them had gone. I took photos, documented everything, filed a detailed report. My supervisor called me the next day. "Jessica, about your report. The footprints." "Yeah, someone barefoot was in the mall, following my route. We checked the cameras. Nobody else was there." "Then how do you explain the footprints?" "Could be from earlier. Maintenance. Cleaning crews. Someone walking around before the mall closed." The prints paralleled mine exactly. Started and stopped in the middle of corridors. That's not a maintenance worker. Silence on the line. Then, "Jessica, I need you to understand something. This mall has been here for 30 years. Strange things happen in old buildings. Sounds, shadows, dust patterns that look like footprints. It's normal. Four-toed footprints are normal. You're working alone at night in a huge empty building. Your mind plays tricks. That's normal too. Just do your job. File your reports if you need to. But don't let your imagination make this harder than it needs to be." She hung up. That's when I first tried to quit. I submitted my resignation November 16th, effective immediately. The HR department rejected it. Said I'd signed a 12-month contract. I'd only completed 2 months. If I left now, I'd be in breach. The company would sue for damages. I didn't remember signing a 12-month contract. I reviewed my employment paperwork, found the contract. There it was. 12 months minimum employment. Penalties for early termination. I'd signed it during the hiring process, buried in a stack of new hire documents. I'd just been signing page after page. Hadn't read the details. Now I was stuck. I called my supervisor. "I can't work here anymore. Something is wrong with this mall. Jessica, you're experiencing normal new hire anxiety. Night security is challenging. Give it time. I'm hearing things, seeing things, finding evidence of something following me. I'll have David work some shifts with you. Would that help? Having a partner for a while." "Yes, please." David worked with me for 3 nights. November 17th, 18th, and 19th. Nothing happened during those nights. No footsteps. No mannequins moving. No unusual sounds. Everything was normal. David noticed my tension. "See? It's fine. You were psyching yourself out." But I knew. Whatever was following me, it only appeared when I was alone. David's last night with me was November 19th. He left at midnight. Had to work a day shift elsewhere. I finished the shift solo. At 1 a.m., the footsteps returned. At 2 a.m., I found all the mannequins in the elegance display facing inward again. At 3 a.m., I found more barefoot prints in the dust. 4 toes. Long stride. Following my route exactly. It was back. November 25th. The food court incident. The food court is on the 3rd floor. Open design. Tables and chairs for 800 people. 15 fast food restaurants around the perimeter. High ceilings. Skylights that let in moonlight. I was doing my 1 a.m. round. Walking through the food court. My footsteps echoing in the empty space. I heard something behind me. Not footsteps this time. Something else. Chairs moving. I turned. About 30 feet behind me, a chair had been pulled out from a table, scraping across the floor. Then it stopped. I stared at it, waiting to see if it would move again. It didn't. I took a step forward. Behind me, another chair scraped, pulled out from its table. I spun around. The chair was now angled outward, like someone had been sitting in it and had just pushed back to stand up. But no one was there. I took another step. Another chair moved behind me. Then another, and another. I started walking faster. Behind me, a trail of chairs pulling out from tables. Like something was moving through the food court, pulling out a chair at each table. Following my path, I broke into a run. The sound of scraping chairs followed me. Getting faster, getting closer. I reached the food court exit, ran down the corridor toward the escalators. Behind me, the scraping stopped. I turned back. The food court was visible from where I stood. In the moonlight coming through the skylights, I could see the chairs, 20 or 30 of them, all pulled out, all angled the same direction, all facing toward me. I filed another report, included photos of the chairs, described exactly what happened. My supervisor called me in for a meeting, November 26th. Before my shift, she sat me down in her office. "Jessica, we need to talk about these reports. Something is following me in that mall. I've worked for this company for 12 years. I've heard stories from night security before. The isolation gets to people. They start seeing patterns that aren't there. Hearing things. Feeling watched. I'm not imagining this." She opened a folder. I pulled the personnel files for night security at this mall. In the last 10 years, we've had 16 night guards. Average tenure, for months. Do you know why they leave? Because something is following them. Because they convince themselves something is following them. Night security in large empty spaces is psychologically demanding. Most people can't handle it. They quit. Or you don't let them quit. Like you're not letting me quit. She closed the folder. You signed a contract. We expect you to honor it. But I'm willing to make an accommodation. Workday shift security. Same pay. You'll have colleagues around. Natural light. Customers. Would that help? Yes. Absolutely. I can move you to days starting December 1st. 5 more nights. Can you handle 5 more nights? I thought about it. 5 nights. Then I'd be done with the empty mall. The footsteps. The mannequins. The chairs. Yes. 5 more nights. Good. File your reports if you need to. But try to stay calm. It's just a building. November 27th. 4 nights left. I was determined to just get through it. Do my rounds. Ignore anything unusual. Make it to December 1st. My 11 p.m. round was uneventful. I walked the routes. Checked the checkpoints. Everything normal. My 1 a.m. round. I heard the footsteps. I didn't turn around. Didn't acknowledge them. Just kept walking. Completed my route. My 3 a.m. round. I found the mannequins arranged in the center of the mall. This was new. Someone had moved mannequins from multiple stores. Brought them to the first floor center court. The big open area under the skylight. There were 12 mannequins. Arranged in a circle. All facing inward. In the center of the circle, positioned carefully, was my security uniform jacket. I'd left it in my office. Now it was here, laid flat on the ground, arms spread out. Like a body, the mannequins were arranged around it, looking down at it, like they were gathered around something dead. I stood there, staring, my heart pounding. This was deliberate. This was a message. This was meant for me. I pulled out my radio, called my supervisor. I need you to come to the mall. Now. Jessica, it's 3 a.m. What's wrong? Someone broke in. Arranged mannequins in the center court. This is a crime scene. I'll check the cameras. Hold on. 5 minutes passed. She called back. Jessica, the cameras show no one entered the mall. The doors are all secure. Motion sensors show no unauthorized entry. Then how did 12 mannequins get moved from different stores to the center court? I don't know, but I'm looking at the footage. You entered the center court at 3:04 a.m. The mannequins were already there. They've been there since at least midnight. You walked past that area on your earlier rounds. You should have seen them. I did the 1 a.m. round. They weren't there. The cameras show they were. I pulled up the camera app on my phone, accessed the center court feed, rewound to 1 a.m. She was right. The mannequins were there at 1 a.m., arranged in a circle, my jacket in the center. But I'd walked through that area. I'd looked at the center court. I hadn't seen them. How had I not seen them? Jessica, go back to the office. Complete your shift monitoring cameras. No more walking rounds tonight. Okay. I went back to the office, locked the door, watched the camera feeds for the rest of the shift. At 4 a.m., I saw something on the second floor feed. The mannequins from Elegance. All 5 of them, standing in the corridor outside their store. I watched them on camera. They were perfectly still, facing the camera. Then, as I watched, one of them moved. Just slightly. Tilted its head. Not mechanical movement. Not something falling or shifting. The mannequin deliberately tilted its head, like it was looking at something. Looking at the camera. Looking at me. I switched to a different camera view. Couldn't watch anymore. November 28th. 3 nights left. I came in for my shift. Checked the center court. The mannequins had been returned to their stores. My jacket was back in my office. Everything normal. Like nothing had happened. I did my rounds mechanically. Didn't look too closely at anything. Didn't investigate unusual sounds. Just walked the routes. Checked the boxes. Waited for the shift to end. At 2 a.m., the lights went out. Not all the lights. Just the section I was in. Second floor west wing. Emergency lighting should have activated. It didn't. I was standing in complete darkness. In the middle of a corridor. Stores on either side. Exit 50 feet ahead. Can't see anything. I pulled out my flashlight. Turned it on. The beam cut through the darkness. Illuminated the corridor ahead. And there, at the edge of my flashlight beam, something moved. Not a mannequin. Not a chair. Not an inanimate object. Something alive. Something that had been standing in the darkness. And when my light touched it, it moved. Darted sideways. Out of the beam. Back into darkness. I swept my flashlight across the corridor. Looking for it. The beam caught glimpses. Movement in the darkness. Something keeping just outside the light. Circling me. I started backing toward the exit. Slowly. Keeping my flashlight moving. Trying to track whatever was moving in the dark. I heard breathing. Not my own. Something else. Close. Ragged breathing. Like someone who'd been running. My flashlight beam caught it for a second. A full second. Long enough to see. It was tall. Thin. Pale skin. Arms too long. Legs too long. Head tilted at an angle that looked wrong. And it was naked. No clothes. Just pale skin over an impossibly thin frame. The face. I couldn't see details. The flashlight was too bright. Created harsh shadows. But I saw enough. The shape was wrong. The proportions were wrong. It looked almost human. But not quite. And it was smiling. I ran. Didn't think. Just ran. Flashlight bouncing. Showing flashes of corridor. I could hear it behind me. Running. Fast. Faster than me. I reached the escalator. Took the stairs 3 at a time. Down to the first floor. Toward my office. Behind me, footsteps on the escalator. Following. I reached the office. Got inside. Slammed the door. Locked it. I stood there, breathing hard, waiting for it to try the door. Silence. I checked the cameras. Pulled up the feed for the area outside my office. Empty corridor. Nothing there. I rewound to when I'd been running. Watched the footage. The cameras showed me running alone. Nothing chasing me. Empty corridors. But I'd seen it. I'd heard it breathing. I'd seen it smile. It was real. November 29th. 2 nights left. I called in sick. Couldn't face going back. My supervisor called me back within 10 minutes. Jessica, you can't call in sick. We have no backup coverage. I can't come in tonight. Something attacked me last night. The cameras show you had a panic attack. You ran through the mall. Nobody attacked you. I saw it. Something was in the darkness, chasing me. You saw shadows. You panicked. That's understandable. But you need to complete your contract. 2 more nights. Then you're on day shift. You can make it 2 more nights. I can't. If you don't show up tonight, you'll be terminated for abandonment. You'll owe the company liquidated damages. $15,000. That's in your contract. Do you have $15,000? I didn't. Be here tonight. 9 p.m. 2 more nights. Then you're done. She hung up. I went in that night. What choice did I have? November 29th. My second to last night. I stayed in the office. Didn't do walking rounds. Just monitored cameras. If they wanted to fire me for not doing rounds, fine. Better than being out there. At midnight, my supervisor called. Jessica, you need to do your rounds. That's your job. I'm monitoring from the office. I can see everything on cameras. Cameras don't show everything. You know that. You need to physically check the spaces. I'm not going out there. If you refuse to do your job, you'll be terminated. Tonight. And you'll owe damages. She was forcing me to go out there. Into the mall, where that thing was waiting. Fine. I'll do my rounds. I left the office. Started my route. First floor. Main corridor. Stores dark behind their gates. Emergency lighting providing dim illumination. I walked quickly. No investigating. No checking details. Just hitting the checkpoints. Getting it done. I heard the footsteps immediately. Behind me. Matching my pace. I didn't turn around. Didn't acknowledge them. Just kept walking. The footsteps got closer. I could hear breathing behind me. That same ragged breathing from last night. I walked faster. The footsteps matched my speed. I could feel it behind me. Close. So close I could feel the air move when it moved. I reached the escalator. Started up to the second floor. Behind me, the footsteps followed. Onto the escalator. Right behind me, I felt something touch my shoulder. Light. Like fingers. Long fingers. I spun around. Nothing there. Empty escalator behind me. But I'd felt it. Contact. Touch. It had touched me. I ran the rest of my round. Just ran. Through corridors. Past stores. Hitting checkpoints as fast as I could. Behind me, always behind me, I could hear it. Running. Breathing. Following. I made it back to the office. Locked myself in. 6 more hours until 6 a.m. Then 1 more night. 1 more night, and I'd be done. November 30th. My last night. I came in at 9 p.m. Determined. This was it. 8 hours. Then day shift. Then I'd never be alone in this mall again. The mall felt different tonight. The air was heavier. The silence was deeper. The shadows were darker. I sat in the office. Watched the cameras. Waiting for midnight when my supervisor would inevitably call and force me to do rounds. At 11 p.m., something appeared on the camera feeds. The mannequins. All of them. From every store in the mall. They were moving. Not being moved. Moving on their own. Walking. Stiff, jerky movements. But definitely walking. They were all heading in the same direction. Toward the center court. I watched, frozen, as dozens of mannequins converged on the first floor center court. They arranged themselves in a massive circle, all facing inward. And in the center of that circle, standing in the space where my jacket had been positioned before, was the thing. The tall, pale thing. Standing perfectly still. Head tilted. Arms too long. Naked and wrong and smiling. Waiting. The mannequins surrounded it. Like an audience. Like witnesses. And then, as I watched, the thing's head turned. Impossibly far. Too far. Until it was facing backward. Facing up. Toward the camera. Looking directly into the lens. Looking at me. Its smile widened. My phone rang. The office phone. Not my cell. The landline that only my supervisor used. I answered. Hello. Breathing. That same ragged breathing. On the phone. I hung up. It rang again immediately. I didn't answer. It kept ringing. 20 times. 30 times. I pulled the phone cord out of the wall. My cell phone started ringing. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Text message, one more round. Then you're free. Another text. We just want to say goodbye. Another. Come down. We're waiting. I looked at the camera feed. The thing in the center court was still there. Still staring up at the camera. Still smiling. All the mannequins were perfectly still. Surrounding it. Waiting for me. My supervisor's voice came over the PA system. Throughout the entire mall. Jessica, complete your final round. Then your contract is fulfilled. Just one more round. That wasn't possible. She wasn't in the building. How was she on the PA system? The voice came again. But this time it didn't sound like my supervisor. It sounded wrong. Distorted. Multiple voices speaking at once. Jessica, come down. Last round. Then freedom. We promise. I looked at the camera. The thing's mouth was moving. Matching the words coming through the PA. It was speaking. Using the PA system. Imitating my supervisor's voice. Come down, Jessica. Or stay here forever. Those are your choices. Come down and finish your contract. Or refuse, and you'll never leave. The office door handle started turning. Jiggling. Something was trying to get in. I looked at the camera feed showing the hallway outside my office. Empty. Nothing there. But the handle kept turning. Harder. More insistent. Bang. Something hit the door. Hard. Bang. Again. The thing wanted me to come out. Wanted me in the center court. Wanted me to complete that final round. I had a choice. Stay in the office while something broke down the door. Or go out. Face it. End this. I chose to end it. I opened the door. The hallway was empty. I walked toward the escalator. Down to the first floor. Toward the center court. I could hear them before I saw them. The mannequins. Dozens of them. Standing in their circle. Perfectly still. I entered the center court. The mannequins didn't move. Didn't turn. Just stood there. Facing inward. And in the center, the thing. Up close, it was worse. So much worse. Its skin wasn't just pale. It was translucent. I could see veins underneath. See the outline of bones. It was emaciated. Starving. Like it hadn't eaten in years. Its face was almost human. But the eyes were too large. The mouth too wide. The teeth too many and too sharp. And it was tall. 7 feet at least. Hunched over. Arms hanging down past its knees. It looked at me. Tilted its head. Smiled wider. Jessica. Its voice was the sound of my supervisor. Of David. Of a dozen voices I'd heard over the PA. It could mimic anything. What are you? I whispered. Hungry. What do you want? I want to thank you. For what? For feeding me. Every night. Your fear. Your terror. Your racing heart. It's delicious. The best meal I've had in years. I understood then. It fed on fear. On emotion. On the psychological terror of being stalked through an empty building. The others before me. The 16 other night guards. You did this to them too. Yes. Most lasted 3 months. For months. You lasted longer. Your fear is richer. More complex. I've enjoyed you. What happened to them? They quit. Ran away. Some went mad. One stayed. She's still here. Would you like to meet her? One of the mannequins moved. Stepped forward. Out of the circle. It was a woman. Not a mannequin. A real woman. dressed like a mannequin, posed like a mannequin, standing perfectly still, eyes open but empty. She couldn't leave, the thing said. Her contract. So she stayed, and stayed, and eventually, she became part of the mall. Like me, like all of us. I looked at the circle of mannequins. Really looked. Some of them weren't mannequins. They were people, standing perfectly still, eyes empty, trapped. I'm leaving, I said. My contract ends tonight. I'm going to day shift. Yes, that was always the deal. Survive the nights. Earn your freedom. You survived. Congratulations. So I can go? Of course. Your contract is fulfilled. Walk out those doors. Never come back. Live your life. It sounded too easy. There had to be a catch. What's the catch? No catch. You leave. I stay. I wait for the next night guard. I start over. It's what I do. It's what I've always done. The thing stepped aside, gesturing toward the exit. The path was clear. I started walking, past the mannequins, past the people frozen like mannequins, toward the exit. Behind me, the thing called out, "Jessica, one question before you go." I stopped, didn't turn around. "Yes." "Did you read your new contract?" For day shift, my blood ran cold. "What? Your day shift contract? Did you read it?" "The hours." I pulled out my phone, opened the email from HR. The day shift assignment. Hours, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. That wasn't day shift. That was evening shift. The mall closed at 9 p.m. I'd be here for 5 hours after closing. Alone, just like before. I heard the thing laugh. Behind me, a sound like tearing metal. "See you tomorrow night, Jessica. We have so much more to explore together." I ran, out of the mall, to my car. I drove home, called HR the moment they opened. "There's a mistake in my contract. The hours are wrong. It says 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's night shift." The HR representative sounded confused. "Let me pull your file." One moment. Typing sounds. Then, "Ms. Martinez, I'm showing you're assigned to night security. Same position you've been working. 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. "No. My supervisor said I was moving to day shift, starting December 1st. I don't have any record of that. Let me check with your supervisor." She put me on hold. 5 minutes passed. She came back. "I spoke with your supervisor. She says there was a miscommunication. Day shift positions are filled. She offered to discuss your schedule concerns, but your current assignment remains unchanged. You're scheduled to work tonight at 9 p.m. I quit. I'm not coming back. You're still under contract. You have 8 months remaining. If you abandon your position, you'll owe liquidated damages. Would you like me to calculate that amount?" "How much?" "Based on your contract, $43,000. I didn't have $43,000. I didn't have $4,000. I was trapped. That was 2 weeks ago. I've worked every night since then. 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Alone in the mall, with the thing that follows me. It's gotten bolder, more aggressive, more playful. Last night, I felt it touch my hair, felt it breathe on my neck, felt its long fingers trace down my spine. The mannequins move every night now. Sometimes they follow me. Sometimes they just watch. Sometimes they arrange themselves in new patterns, new circles, new configurations, messages, warnings, promises. I've tried everything. Lawyers say the contract is enforceable. Police say there's no crime. My family thinks I'm having a breakdown. Nobody believes me. Nobody helps. I'm writing this during my shift. It's 3 a.m. I'm locked in the office. I can hear it outside. Walking, scratching at the door, calling my name in different voices. I have 8 months left on my contract. 240 nights. I don't think I'll survive that long. Either the thing will take me, Like it took that woman who's now standing frozen with the mannequins. Or I'll go mad. Or I'll do what I'm actually considering right now. The thing I think about every night. Finding a way to make it stop. Permanently. But I'm running out of options. And time. And sanity. If you're reading this, and you're offered a night security job at Westfield Commons Mall in Phoenix, Arizona, don't take it. No matter what they pay. No matter what they promise. Because some contracts aren't just about employment. Some contracts are feeding agreements. And once you sign, you can't get out. The thing is at my door right now. I can see its shadow under the frame. It knows I'm writing this. It knows I'm trying to warn people. It doesn't care. It's patient. It has time. It's been here for 30 years. It'll be here for 30 more. And tonight, like every night, I have to leave this office eventually. I have to do my rounds. I have to walk through that mall. And it will follow me. Always behind me. Always getting closer. Until one night, I stop running. And it catches me. The Vantum files. Case number 008. The mall follower. Status. Ongoing. Subject still employed. Location. Westfield Commons Mall, Phoenix, Arizona. Phenomenon. Predatory entity. Psychological feeding. Contract entrapment. Previous victims. 16 plus night security guards. 13 quit. 3 unaccounted for. Current victim. Jessica Martinez. 8 months remaining on contract. Warning. Do not accept night security positions at this location. If you are currently working night security at a mall and experience footsteps following you, mannequins moving or repositioning, unusual contractual obligations preventing resignation, feeling of being watched or stalked, document everything. Consult employment lawyer immediately. Do not fulfill final rounds. Some buildings aren't just empty at night. Some buildings are hunting grounds. Some employment contracts aren't just legal documents. They're binding agreements with things that shouldn't exist. Jessica Martinez, Night Security, Westfield Commons. Statement recorded December 14th, 2024. Current status, still employed, 236 nights remaining. The thing is still following her. It will follow the next guard too. And the next. Forever.